An institution thrives through the community and contributes to the community.
It's always the people who lure you, right, to whatever institution there is.
CFAS to me has always been a very joyful place to come to.
After World War II, many communities were unsettled and rebuilding themselves. It was no different in Singapore. One group rallied around their common love for Indian culture and classical arts.
Art is an embodiment of our own culture, of our identity.
Mr. S.N. Dore, Mr. R.V. Subban and Mr. K.P.A. Menon. They wanted to make sure that our sons and daughters of the immigrant community of Indians would not lose touch with their traditional culture and fine arts. In 1949, they set up Indian Fine Arts Society.
Inspiration came from the South Indian intellectual community. They took a serious interest to find out what is the foundation of Indian culture.
They set out with a motto drawn out from Sanskrit, which said Kala Samskriti Lakshanam, which means art characterizes civilization.
There were 12 founding members of CFAS at that time in 1949 when it was formed in May of 1949. My father, Mr. R.P. Easwaran, was one of the founding members. He, together with some of the founding fathers like Mr. K.P.A. Menon, Mr. S.N. Dore, Mr. Subbarayulu,
The society was very close to their hearts and also close to their homes.
Official address of the Indian Fine Arts Society was 132 Rangoon Road, and that was the official residence of my family as well as the other founding member.
From my understanding from my aunts and my family, the very first rehearsal of CFAS was actually held at my place where the current SOTA sits. There was a row of 16 terrace houses over there, and one of it was our home.
Started off as a very informal, casual association, became soon grew in momentum, as I would say, and they had a lot of visiting artists coming at those days, and so this became quite a strong forum for people to meet and associate, especially for the Indian community.
The structure of the culture so strong and so attractive. We were able to get more and more people, the younger ones, to become interested.
St. Michael's is where they had their first school, residential school, and students will come there.
From what I recall, tutors like K.P. Bhaskar, Shankari Krishnan, quite a few of these people were the first gurus and tutors who started the classes.
Most of them would be local teachers, and some would come from Johor. What started off as only 3 students initially grew in number. It became a little difficult because I think the neighborhoods felt there were too much of noise coming from classes and etc. Being a small housing.
But no matter where it moved to, the society continued to outgrow its premises.
Number of students expanded and the faculties got introduced, more teachers came in, so they were looking for bigger places.
They asked a prominent Indian, leader of the National Trades Union Congress, Devanaya, for help.
I went to see him and then he said, "Oh, this is the problem."
To solve the problem, Devanaya contacted up-and-coming politician Chua Sien Chin.
The Chua Sien Chin told me to go and see him. He said, "No, look, we are giving you the place indefinitely." At the time, later they removed that clause. They said, "No," so that's how we got the premises.
In 1959, Indian Fine Arts Society established its academy.
It was called the Academy of Fine Arts. Mr. S. Rajaratnam, he inaugurated Academy of Fine Arts.
The academy was the culmination of much planning.
We got in touch with Madras University and they helped us to formulate the syllabus. We instituted a proper examination system. We used to bring external examiners from India.
One of the challenges was getting teachers to come in from India, helping them to make Singapore their home.
For that, the society leveraged on personal contacts.
People like Krishnamurti and all that. He knew those people very well, intimately. So he will put in a word and then after that I will follow up. So I go and then I will hunt them. Some of them don't like to leave India, So I used to give them some assurance, don't worry, there are a lot of people to look after. Your friends are there and all that. And that's how I got them to come down.
As it attracted talented trainers locally and from abroad, the Indian Fine Arts Society developed an exceptional, unique ethos.
Started with CIFAS when I was about 7 years old. At that time, CIFAS was at St. George's Road. And my first dance teacher was Shankari Krishnan. I did my Arangetram with her. After Vijayalakshmi Krishnasamy, there was RAO. And after her, there was Shanta Panudurai. I have to mention the one person who taught me the signs of Thalam, and that was Karekudi Krishnamurti. So CIFAS has very, very fond memories for me. It was almost like my second home. You know, those days we were like a family. All the students that was under the teacher, we were all like brothers and sisters, who literally grew up together. There have been many families that have had long associations with CIFAS. My family, where we've had a 5-generational connection.
We have about 1,800 members and students today, and that represents a cross-section of the Indian and non-Indian as well in Singapore who come to us. How can we be more engaged with the families who come to CIFAS? The parents, the students, the siblings, the relatives, the neighbors. So with all the student concerts and so on, you draw in a whole lot of the community into CIFAS for the smaller events.
It's very rare to find one place where everybody has that same love for the art or music or dance. That love for music only makes me feel more welcome.
Once I joined, it was pretty much like a opening up of dimensions, meeting very good gurus, a lot of visiting artists where you're exposed to, being inspired and being influenced. You meet a lot of like-minded individuals. So a lot of learning, a lot of being included into different groups
And to do our own things and sometimes make mistakes in the process.
And I think we have inculcated a culture that passion drives the place more than, the structure and theory, and give the freedom and space for people to experiment, to fault, to try, and provide a certain sense of security and safety for them to do stuff and appreciate what is happening well and support for things that do not go well too. And it's a liberative sense for people to work, and I've seen amazing work coming out of CIFAS.
Their work had to pass public scrutiny because artists create for audiences.
There were a lot of performing opportunities. The more you perform, the more you learn. The stage is the best learning platform. CIFAS is probably the only institute, if I may say, that can offer this.
There were instances like the Festival of the Arts, and that became an annual affair.
Every performance is memorable because you work and you train so hard and you spend a lot of time practicing for this, right, until the dance becomes your muscle memory.
Everything, I would say, had its germination here. The very first productions that me and my fellow alumni put together, and even the ticketed programs, and some of them have gone on to like Kala Utsavam and like Esplanade Raga series.
I was also very keen on performances, not only performances of the students and the teachers, but we also invite artists from India, Institute of Cultural Relations in India, Delhi based, and they were very helpful. So when we write to them, they'll sponsor this, people to come down. The sponsor means they will pay the air passage, and also I think they gave some money. But then we looked after hospitality and everything, accommodation. Zakir Hussain, Amjad Ali Khan, Subramaniam, Unni Krishnan, most of these artists, we gave them opportunities when they were very young, to perform.
I proposed the conduct of a festival of music and dance sometime in October 2002. This festival is mainly to facilitate locally groomed artists to have a stage for more than an hour. Hitherto, they will have performances at Kumbhabhishekam or Temple Navaratri times for only about 15 to 20 minutes, whereas this festival gave them an opportunity to do for more than an hour. And then the festival grew from time. Then we also brought in Notch foreign artists, region artists also like Malaysians, Indonesians. The festival ran over a span of 3 weeks and catering to both Singaporeans, CIFA students from other institutions also, and from, of course, India also.
And for the bigger events with our festivals and our marquee events, you get everyone in the society, all the echelons of the society who come and enjoy. For instance, we had the Zakir Hussain show with Triveni, which was houseful, nearly 1900 people, and the who's who attending and celebrating Indian classical music and art.
The rite of passage for the society's students has always remained rigorous.
Curriculum is something very important for any education that is institutionalized. The curriculum is divided into 3 stages: the foundation, development and proficiency. You go through 8 levels to actually get the diploma certificate at the end of your course. This level does not mean 8 years, but it depends on the aptitude of the student. We only allow them to take the exam when they are ready. So it's directly proportional to the efforts they put in, the practice hours the student puts in.
My friends and I had either completed it or were going to complete it. It was a lovely time to be at CIFAS at that time because we could just sit here and practice in the rehearsal room. We could moot our own ideas for programs, and the management team, the teachers and everyone was very keen to encourage us how to run a program, how to coordinate logistics and everything. I would say it's a very, very important greenhousing period that I had in my music career.
So these things will help them compete with the standards outside Singapore in the Indian art form.
A lot of us managed to go through and get the diploma. I was very lucky to get the National Arts Council's postgraduate scholarship and go to India's Madras University and do my postgraduate in Mridangam. But what helped me was getting the diploma. That was like a card to go there, and they accepted it. I think the quintessential thing that many people will know is CIFAS's caliber of students. The kind of exposure that they get, performance opportunities, influence and inspirations is, I would say in Singapore, it's unmatched.
Established Indian artists and icons would collaborate with CIFA students and alumni because of their qualifications and skills.
Famous Indian dancers who I did Natwangam for. One was Lakshmi Viswanathan in Singapore. Thereafter, I went to India to Krishnagana Sabha to do Natwangam for her as well. Then there was Sri Vidya, the late actress. That performance was totally memorable because the singer for that performance was her mother, who's the famous M.L. Vasantakumari. Then there was Leela Sampson, for whom I did Natwangam as well.
A catalyst in the recent evolution of CIFAS was the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020.
How do we exist and continue? And that we managed to resolve by inducting technology overnight, doing digital classes with multiple students joining a class on a Zoom and so on and so forth. And it was quite a challenging transition, but also great opportunity for people to learn and adapt, and it showed the resilience of the organization.
In fact, CIFAS had a rethink and overhaul during that time.
Every institution needs to question itself in terms of its relevance to the current times. That's exactly what we did about 4 years ago and embarked on a transformation journey of CIFAS to embrace technology. The second part is enhancing our facilities and modernizing them. The third part of it is we have new pedagogy, actually reformats the manner and method of our ancient system of Guru Shishya Parampara. It has a lot of merit, but it needs to be rendered to the modern digital generation in a different way. Rejuvenating an old institution is the induction of a young team in CIFAS. All love the arts and they connect with the members, they connect with the students, and they connect with technology in the future better than anybody else. And that is what is making a big difference. And empowering them and supporting them is the key to our managing our future.
The future lies in more outreach activities.
To make ourselves impact certain segments of the society that are underrepresented, so single women and aged women, and we are bringing them to the arts, to bring in small children, to expose them arts very early, which is 3 to 6 years, where we expose them to all forms of art for 2.5 hours and the parents wait at the facilities so that everyone gets inducted into the arts. And having affiliations with smaller art producers, artists, schools and institutions and societies to come and collaborate and work with us. We have expanded our footprint internationally. Kalakshetra, with Madras Academy, with National Centre for Performing Arts, India, as well as Kathak Kendra, Delhi, ICCR. We have a vision to create an ASEAN Centre of Excellence, draw audiences, we can draw talent from the entire region.
By all accounts, the past performance of CIFAS will enact an even better future.
Me and my colleagues have inherited an institution with a great history. Our committee members, volunteers, parents, students, families, art lovers who have supported it.
A lot of course mates or mates from different disciplines became good friends, and more than just being musicians, we are like really close friends, and it still continues after 15, 16 years.
It's not just what you learned. I think it's got to do with the people, the teachers I had. And that's what keeps you wanting to go back, to see them, be in touch with them, do things with them, work with them.
This is a part of me that, will always have to live on. I feel a lot of gratitude to CIFAS for having given us that opportunity to learn and grow.
We are going to be celebrating our 75 years next year, and I think that to me is very special. Having been associated with CIFAS pretty much most of my life, now it's given me a chance to give back to my alma mater by being part of the management committee and knowing what CIFAS has stood for all these years and giving that valuable input as to how do we take this forward.